Welcome, everyone. My name is Erica. I'm the Customer Success Manager at Listenwise. And welcome to this webinar about the latest and greatest that Listenwise Premium has to offer here in the back to school season of 2021. So in the next 30 minutes or so, I'm going to show you all of the new features that we've released, as well as provide some tools and tips and tricks for using Listenwise this year. And to be transparent, we are highlighting mostly premium features. So if you're not currently a Listenwise Premium customer, you can sign up for a free trial when you sign up for your Listenwise account, and then you're able to explore these features for yourself. Do just want to highlight, we have a 2021 back to school checklist for Listenwise Premium customers on our blog. So check that out for some step-by-step instructions to get up and running for this school year. Okay, let's get into it. We're going to talk about new product features first that may affect how you set up your classes this year. And then again, as a reminder, it's mostly premium features that we're covering today. So the first one, we're excited to announce that Listenwise has added Clever SSO single sign-on that allows seamless access to Listenwise. So now you can use the Clever button when logging in to Listenwise, and you can also have the SSO app added to your Clever portal. So you're just going to have to ask your Clever admin at your school or district to have that added. And I do want to mention, we do not have a rostering option via Clever, but you can continue to use Google Classroom for rostering and posting assignments to your students in Google Classroom. This just offers another easy single sign-on option for both teachers and students. Okay, and then the other exciting feature we added this year is co-teaching. So now you can add one or more teachers to your Listenwise classes, so then all of you can see the work that's done for that class, assign work, review work, look at quiz data for those students. But do want to note, the primary teacher only has access to changing rosters or making any changes to class settings. If you already have a co-teacher in your Google Classroom, we're going to automatically import them for you under that role. Otherwise, you manually create a co-teacher and add them. And that's what this screenshot here is for. Again, I'm going to go step by step through how you actually find all this on the website. But I do want to just touch on some new assignment features that you should know about for this new year as well. And then we'll do a demo of everything we've just covered. All right, let's talk about some changes when it comes to Listenwise quizzes. So if you want more control over when students see their quiz results, you can disable the auto-release quiz feature. So this will stop students from automatically seeing their quiz results and the answers when they submit their quiz. And this is a setting at the class level, not the individual quiz level. So you may decide to disable this quiz release option for one class, but for another class you're teaching, you can keep it enabled so students automatically see how they did. And it's a feature that you can enable or disable at any time. Another little change we want to talk about with quizzes. So small change, but highly requested by teachers. If you use Google Classroom, now when you have quiz scores exported to your Google Classroom gradebook, it will now only send raw scores rather than a score out of 100 or percentage of 100. So now they'll get 2 out of 4 instead of 20 out of 100, for instance. And no action is needed for this feature. It has already been enabled and it's ready for you. The last thing that I want to mention is a student-facing feature. As a reminder, there's that built-in blue toolbar that students can have access to on their assignments for dictionary supports. Now it allows for some deeper Spanish translation options. So students can now highlight phrases, sentences, paragraphs, and have that passage translated into Spanish. And it can even be read out loud to you as well. If you click that little play button that's right next to the text. And again, I'll give you a demo in a student account so you can see what that looks like. Speaking of, let's do the demo. We'll talk about Clever. We will talk about adding co-teachers, touch on the quiz updates, and we'll talk about the Spanish translation feature. So I actually want to log out of my account to show you the full example here. So the Clever button, as I mentioned, when you're either creating your account or when you're logging into Listenwise, let me click that button there. I am an educator. Here's that Clever button. So if you do use Clever, you can click that. If you use Google or Clever, you can use these interchangeably. Same for your students. It's all just whatever email is tied to the account in Listenwise. And if it matches what's in Google or Clever, you can use either button. And then as a reminder, you're still going to want to roster with Google, post assignments to Google. Clever is just a single sign-on option. All right, so let's talk about co-teaching. So again, we're going to go to our Manage Classes page where we set up our classes, look at our rosters. Okay, so if I want to add a teacher manually to my class, so I've already have my class created with students, we can go over here to the three-dot menu and we will click Add Co-Teacher. So when we click that, there is a box here, and then you choose the teachers listed within your school who you want to add to be a co-teacher. I want to note, if you don't see who you're looking for, you need to make sure that they are enrolled in a Listenwise, or they have a Listenwise class and they are added to your school's premium subscription. So they will not show up until they match your school and have premium. And then we have instructions here if you need help with that. And then you'll just click Add Co-Teacher and they'll automatically be added, and then they'll get an email notification with more information. I'll show you here in my English 1 class, I have added a second teacher here. So you see I'm primary, he is a co-teacher, and you can always remove them later. So there's flexibility there. And then the last thing to point out is you see this, it says co-teacher. So this is where I am a co-teacher in another class. So then you notice not as many options for me. We've removed the ability to reset passwords or make any changes to class settings. Okay. And then I will just want to note, as a co-teacher, I mentioned that last class I'm a co-teacher in. So see, it's listed here just like a normal class, and I can go in and look at responses, and I can make assignments and assign to that class. So that's what that's going to look like. Okay, let us now talk about that quiz release update change. So I'm back on my Manage Classes tab because it's going to be a change you make to your class settings. So again, going back to that three-dot menu, you're going to click that, and this time we're going to click Class Settings. And then you see this option here, Auto Release Quiz Scores. The default setting is to have that checked and automatically send scores to students. If you uncheck the box and click Save, that is how you can stop it from auto-releasing. So what does that look like when you actually have that setting enabled? Let's go to our assignment tab. I need to refresh my account to show that update. So now you see here, with a quiz, you can release the scores to students. You have to click that button. You click it once. So you can't do it in batches. It's one time for one quiz for one class. And then you'll notice, again, I've released the scores for this class, so I can no longer remove that. And any students who may submit later are just automatically going to see quiz results. And then you notice I only have it enabled for this class. So down here, they'll just automatically see quiz results. Okay. Let's see, I want to just talk about current events and talking about quizzes. Just a reminder that Wednesday stories have a quiz posted to it as well. So you see that little icon, that's the quiz icon. Popular option for teachers every Wednesday, there's a new quiz with a good story, and these are more evergreen topics, so you don't have to worry about it being too current. Always a good listen here. And then again, the assigning quiz button, we'll just click into that. And then what I want to show you here is the sending scores to Google. I mentioned there's the change where now it's not a score out of 100, it's the raw scores of 4 out of 5 correct. And then as a reminder, if you want your grades to be exported to Google Classroom, you got to check that box there for your class, give it a due date, and you also need to post it to Google. So you have to share it as an assignment to Google to have the quiz scores exported to Google as well. And then as a reminder, you don't have to do anything different. You're just going to get the raw scores now. All right. Last thing to talk about is that student-facing feature. So I'm actually going to open up a student demo account here. I'm going to log into my Listenwise account. I'm synced with Google for this student, so I don't need passwords or anything. I just log right in. Easy peasy. As a reminder, using Listenwise with Google Classroom is a great option. Okay, so let's open up an assignment here that I've started, and then I'm going to show you that toolbar. So again, here we have that blue toolbar. Want to just talk through all of these features. So we can always have any text read out loud to us if we highlight it. So highlight and click the play button.
Listen to the story and answer.
Oop, that was a little quiet sorry about that. I'll make it louder and do it again.
Ricky Sherman. Dashboard.
Oops. So as you noticed with that little faux pas there, if you push play without highlighting text, it just starts reading at the top of the page. So I'm going to highlight that text again and click play.
Listen to the story and answer.
Okay, there you go, read out loud. Okay, so that is the read aloud option. We also have single word dictionary definition. So I'm going to highlight that word, click this button for a dictionary. And I mentioned you can have anything read out loud in the pop out as well. So we click the speak button.
Adjective. Stimulating or exalting to the spirit.
And that will be read out loud to you. So you can have dictionary definitions for single words and have all that text read out loud to you. And then we also have picture dictionaries. So you can highlight one word again, and then we can get a dictionary definition. So that's fantastic. And then there's no read aloud option there, obviously, because it's a picture. Okay, and then the Spanish translation. This is the new update we just made. So let me show you here. We can highlight text. And if we click the word translate option, it will give you a translation in Spanish for that passage. And then if you click that play button again.
Al principio de la vida de Ellen Keller, perdió la capacidad de ver y oír.
It will be read out loud to you. So any text you can highlight for a translation. But then as a reminder, you can just highlight one word and get a single word Spanish translation if you want to. So you have some flexibility there in what you highlight and what is translated. So that is the big update on student accounts. I'm gonna close out of that and go back to my slides here and move on to our next section. Let's talk about new content available on Listenwise so you guys know what's new and happening. So we've added new collections to Listenwise. I'm really excited about these. Youth voices are very motivating for students. So we've highlighted some of our best stories that feature student voices in some new story collections. So 3 of them are youth voice related, and you see I've linked here. So civic engagement, passions, perspectives, innovation, and discovery. So check those collections out. And we are also publishing story collections like Native American stories and Asian American Pacific Islander stories, just to name a few. So if you're looking to bring diverse voices and stories into your classroom and address DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion into your curriculum, these are some great collections to check out. So highly recommend you review those stories. We've also continued to build out our elementary lesson collection. We now have over 100 standards aligned lessons and well over 300 total stories on Listenwise that are appropriate for students in grades 2 to 5. We've also added some new content partners to our elementary collection like Story Seeds and Kojo for Kids. And I also want to remind you about our weird news stories. Those are the 30-second quick quirky stories and they feature 2 to 3 vocab words. Those are great for young learners or any of your English learners. Okay, and really excited about this change as well. Our search page has been improved to make it easier to find what you need. So now you can clearly see which filters are applied. You can easily remove the filters. You can clear all, and you can filter for stories with quiz. We used to have 2 check boxes. Now it's just 1. So we simplified things, make it easier to navigate. Okay, let's do one demo of finding all that content. So our new collections, we'll review the new search page, and then we'll talk about our elementary content and how you can best find it on the website. So popping back into my teacher account, the first thing I'm going to show you is our collection page. So best place to go is the drop down from lessons to collections. And then you can see here we've added new ones, the PI story collection, and then we just obviously have the other collections that we had last year, but a lot of new stories here to check out. Had this last year as well, the social emotional learning collection, but that's a fantastic collection to check out, especially for the beginning of the year. Great to build classroom culture with those stories. And here are those youth voice collections. I'll just pop into the last one here and then show you when you go into a collection, you get a little summary of what it all means, and then the story links are here. So then you can just pop right into that story and check it out and listen with your students. Okay, let's talk about our search page next. I'm gonna pop here on to listenwise.com/search. So filters are a little different here. So I wanna just mention the grade level. So speaking of elementary, we can just check the elementary tab to only see stories that are good for grades 2 to 12. I'm sorry, 2 to 5 for our elementary collection. And I mentioned we just have the 1 quiz button. So check that if you only want to see stories with our built-in listening quizzes. And then I just want to show you that you can filter by our daily current events or our standards aligned lessons. So let's click on that lessons page or box so that we filter for that. And then the last thing I just want to point out, the Lexile audio measure, again, that's new to a lot of teachers. There's that number built into every story. So if you click on it, you're going to get more about what it all means. It's all about the listening difficulty and complexity of the audio. We have some grade level recommendations, and then a general low, medium, and high Lexile level bucket. So we can always filter by that as well, and then move that filter around if needed. So then in terms of the search page, it's now easier to see we're looking for stories with a quiz that are a lesson, that are elementary school within the Lexile range. And here's a pro tip. I didn't actually filter by a topic. So if you're looking for just general stories within ranges or with certain features, that's a nice way to approach that. But obviously most teachers are looking for particular stories. So you can always obviously search that topic area. And then the last thing I want to point out, if you want to start fresh, you can just click clear all and ta-da, brings you right back to the beginning. And then I just want to mention weird news again. So we can just search for weird news here, start a new search, and then you'll only see stories that are the weird news ones. All right. Think we covered the basics on the new content. Going back to my slides for the last time, I just want to leave you with a few resources and things to think about as you prep for the new year. So we have revamped our support center. So it's going to be more helpful than ever. There are lots of how-tos, instructional ideas, and other resources just to help you answer your questions. And if you do need additional help, you can always submit a ticket to our support team to get help ASAP. So definitely check that out. And you can always find it from your teacher dashboard. The little question mark in the top right-hand corner of your dashboard will bring you right to our support center. And we know that supporting your students' social emotional learning is a top priority as we go back into the classroom and back to school, and as you establish your classroom culture this year. We've put together a number of resources depending on your needs and what you're looking for. So we have just general story collections with our SEL collection. I pointed that out on the website. We have choice boards to help spark discussion for each of the competencies. And if you're looking for something a little more structured and intense, we have a 6-week plan that have different learning goals. So it's a more comprehensive guide to support you there. Okay, as a reminder again, if you don't have premium but would like to explore the features, you can sign up for a free account and then opt into the 30-day free trial. And if you share with your colleagues, you can start a free trial. And then if you share with 2 or more colleagues in your school free trial, it will extend your free premium access to 60 days to give you guys more time to explore and play around. Okay, well, that wraps it up for what's new and exciting on Listenwise. So thank you for taking the time to learn with me today. I hope you're leaving with some new ideas, either teaching ideas or how you can use Listenwise with some of these new updates to support your students' learning. So thank you again for joining and happy listening.